Oh, good afternoon and a welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Celtic have just won the game against Aberdeen 3-1. Uh, Tell me your thoughts in the comments section on that game. It was a game of two halves for definite. Aberdeen were taken down to 10 men in the first half. And wait a minute, because this isn't on. It was definitely a game of two halves where Celtic should have scored 4 or 5 goals easily. 4 or 5 goals easily in the first half. Johnny Kenny missed sitter after sitter after sitter. Give me your thoughts in the comments. We'll try and get as many comments live as possible. And reaction to the game this afternoon. Johnny Kenny. Let's talk about Johnny Kenny first of all. A young lad, 22-year-old. He should have had a couple of goals today, but you need to talk about the Aberdeen goalkeeper. If you're going to talk about Aberdeen goalkeeper, what a goalkeeper he is. And when you talk about the Aberdeen goalkeeper, you have to talk about Kasper Schmeichel. Kasper Schmeichel had very little to do during that game. Kasper Schmeichel is the goalkeeper at Celtic that is there by default. I don't think he's the most favourite or most loved goalkeeper that we've ever had at Celtic. How many chances we're going to miss this season? I think that it's not how many chances. Kenny's rubbish, sorry mate, absolutely mince. Oh, getting right in and dig on Johnny Kenny, even though he's only 22-year-old. I think that if we had an older striker, I mean, you can't just take Johnny Kenny. I mean, there was the shots that Celtic had on goal this afternoon. You know, Johnny Kenny missed some easy ones, so did other players, but the stats don't lie, and that's the embarrassing part. Celtic had an absolute abundance of goal scoring opportunities, to score way more goals than what they did. 31 shots, 21 shots inside the box, 10 shots on goal. When was the last time in a game that we had 31 shots? The manager will say that, yes, it's progress. The manager will say, Kieran Tierney, the manager will thank Kieran Tierney and Jamesy Forrest, scoring again for Celtic. 17 seasons in a row that James Forrest has asked for the ball in the middle of the box, and he gets it right into his feet and he slips it into the back of the net to make it 3-1 Celtic. Kieran Tierney scores a header at the back post to make it 2-1 Celtic, ultimately taking the pressure off. After all the fans walked out the stadium, a lot of fans not happy. Mate, age shouldn't matter, 22, you know where the goal is, says Aaron. Tell that to an older, experienced player. Tell that to Luke McCowan, who hits it way over the bar. People are picking on him because he's a striker. I get it why people are picking on him as a player. But Luke McCowan knows how to hit the back of the net. How many shots did Luke McCowan have over the bar? Wide of the post. And then you've got Tony Ralston. You've got to hit the target. Puts it wide. Austin Trusty, older international player, got to hit the target, puts it wide. Do you know, picking on with the youngest player in the squad, I get it, I do get it, but I don't think it's fair on the player. There are elder, more experienced players that are playing at Celtic right now that have to take responsibility. Do you know, and by missing some of the sitters that they've missed, you know, it's putting pressure on a young player, and a proper striker. We're on our way. Yeah, as Scales is a bomb scare. Scales coming on. Fuck. How much did that change the game? Scales coming on. It allowed Kieran Tierney. The only good thing about Scales coming on is it pushed Kieran Tierney to that sort of wing back role that then put Kieran Tierney in the position to score the header. You've got to give the manager his due for that one. Scales isn't the answer at Celtic. He's definitely. Kasper almost cost us the game. Yep, he did that. Thank God for that. Yeah, tell me about it. They both have to spend massively on a new striker and give Aberdeen money for their keeper. Should we take the Aberdeen goalkeeper? Now, there's a question for you. Should we take the Aberdeen goalkeeper, or should we just use Sinisalo? He's a fantastic keeper. Do you know? And how much would it cost Celtic to take the Aberdeen goalkeeper? That should be the question. I don't think that it was ours. Unpopular opinion, I think Nancy has got the team playing better, shown in the last 2 games, but it should have been 4 up at half time. Yeah, it is, mate, I get what you're saying, Thomas. And it is a bit of an unpopular opinion when it comes to Celtic fans, because a lot of Celtic fans said no matter what, we need to get rid of the manager. And do we need to get rid of the manager? Do we need to give the manager more time? I said, look, we can win today, and it takes a bit of pressure off us. We're 5 points ahead of Motherwell with a game in hand. We win our game in hand at some point over the next couple of weeks, and we're a further 3 points closer and away from Aberdeen, away from Motherwell. The manager could still pull it around. You know, he could still turn it around if he's given time. Do we get rid of him? No, we don't get rid of him just now, because he's just won a game 3-1. Celtic will not sack the manager tonight. As bad as that, and the chances that were missed, it will be interesting to hear what the manager says after the game, because he will be saying to the Celtic board, how many chances did... I mean, people are giving a striker grief when that young striker put the ball right across the front of goal, and not one older Celtic player was there to put the ball in the back of the net. Age doesn't matter. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. I thought we played well today, missed loads of chances with no striker. Yep. And I think we're all agreed. We haven't replaced Kyogo. We didn't replace Adam either. We needed 2 strikers in. We needed 2 strikers in the summer. And what did we get? We got a 32-year-old past it that's been injured more than he's... You've got Kelechi Iheanacho is getting paid for Celtic for what? He should have been on a pay-per-play game, because there's one thing, Iheanacho at Celtic is absolutely woeful. It's been a waste of money. Brendan Rodgers bringing his pal in, who's injury prone, it's absolutely woeful. There are younger strikers more clinical than Kenny. Once he gets a few chances, he might be all right. Yeah, there is more younger strikers, but we chased them away. Daniel Cummins couldn't get the money at Celtic. Daniel Cummins was a Daniel Cummins was a prolific striker at that age group. There's nothing to say that Daniel Cummins would be a prolific striker in the SPFL. Daniel Cummins decided that his future was away from Celtic. You know, we can talk about could have, should have, would have. The problem is we've got a striker that maybe just needs a little bit of a confidence boost, and once he starts wrapping them in, he'll start putting in quite a lot of goals. Wee Mitch with Super Chat. Hail Baz, thanks for the live and the hard work you put into the channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you, mate. I think there was about 7,000 folk on the live watch along. I didn't check the stats before. Played well, says Gordon. Big difference. Casper needs dropped. Kenny has no confidence. That'll come. Long ball over the top to open us. I think so. I think that will come. Jamesy Forrest needs to just speak to James Forrest. Sorry. Johnny Kenny needs to speak to James Forrest in composure, because that's all it is. It's just composure. Oh, don't say that. And Nancy, we trust. Glad James Forrest scored. Let's talk about James Forrest, because James Forrest is a player that a lot of Celtic fans, and Celtic fans even on here, say that James Forrest is past it. He shouldn't be at Celtic. But I think every one of us kind of had a little smile on our face, and maybe some of you jumped about with the fact that James Forrest did score that all-important goal. For him personally, it's a great achievement for James Forrest. Take away the result, take away the fact that the pressure on the manager, take away the fact that James Forrest maybe does get injured every season, or has been injured every season. But I tell you one thing, to keep on scoring goals at a club like ours, you're talking about Johnny Kenny, been under pressure. So there's a guy, James Forrest, has been under pressure for 17 years at Celtic. And do we start shouting and Nancy we trust? I don't think so. Those who think that Kyogo wouldn't have made a huge difference recent results are out of their minds. Come on, Kyogo is not the answer. He wanted away from Celtic. My shoulder's sore. I'm going to need a few games out, Kyogo. Casper needs to go on a diet. He needs to go on a diet on the bench. That's his job, not the defenders. Where's Kyogo now? The grass isn't greener, only the money. Still shocking performance. Johnny Kenny is fucking terrible. I'm not having it. Scales was poor. Scales is shite. Scales, since Brendan Rodgers left, Scales' form has taken a big dip. Scales is one player who, at the beginning of the season, I thought could have been it. Imagine if we had a 40-year-old Gary Hooper today. Gary Hooper, what's with the love bomb? Gary Hooper wanted away from Celtic as well. Green for goal. You just come on here to wind up every time because Gary Hooper wanted away from Celtic. Gary Hooper is one of the players that phoned up Scott Brown and said, "Oh, Scotty, mate, all right, mate, all right, Scott, I've made a big. I wish you'd bring Armstrong back." Yeah, but anyway, Kenny's now missed 6 sitters. Unacceptable. Well done to KT and James. Yep. No keeper had a good game. No keeper had a good game though. I would say that the Aberdeen keeper had a fantastic game. Being fair, could he have saved the Celtic ones? I don't think so. Celtic needs 2 tough men through the middle. Did that. I think that we've been shouting out. It will be interesting now that we've got that win. Does the heat come off the manager's back? There's a poll question for you. Let's talk about that. Let's just do this poll question. Does the heat come off the manager? I'm not giving my opinion on it. After that win. There you go. There's the poll question. Does the heat come off the manager after that win? Give us your honest opinion. Does the heat come off the manager after that win? And already, it's kind of split down. Well, it was split down the middle, but the no's seem to be. It's at 62% say no, 39% say yes. This will be an interesting one. We're going to keep this one running for a good half hour or so. We'll try and get as many people on as we can. There's been over 1,128 people on the live already. Does the heat come off the manager after that win? And we're currently sitting on 78 votes on that poll. So give me your honest opinion on that. There is another super chat coming from Taylor. Hail James Forrest. Thank you. I think we all need to say thank you to James Forrest. And I think some people need to apologise to James Forrest, to be honest. You've not got you've not had the career that he's had by being bad. There's a good one. Why did the manager shrug his shoulders when we went 2-1 up? It was more it was this, wasn't it? It was more it wasn't really a shrug of the shoulders. It was an interesting one. Do you think that he was hoping to get the sack at that point? Do you maybe he was thinking, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to work for my money now? I believe that he had the offer of 1.2 million for him to walk away, and that was taken off the table. It's a bit like that game show where you've got the box and you open up the box and see how much money you can get at the end. He maybe wants to see through the job until it is done. Never been Nancy's fault at 1-1. Drops Michael, for fuck's sake. Gagging for a striker. I'll take Chifty back at this rate. Engels is a lemon. Could have, should have been at least 8-1. Exactly. The stats don't lie. When you look at the pass accuracy was at 91%. It was at 86% against Dundee United. The goalkeeper's shot blocked. Goalkeeper saves. Kasper Schmeichel 1. Aberdeen goalkeeper 7 saves. 7 shots, 7 saves. That tells you all. You look at the fouls. Celtic had 12 fouls. Aberdeen had 13 fouls. And Aberdeen were only caught offside once. Celtic were offside 3 times. And it was Dyson Maeda. It was Dyson Maeda who was offside most of those times. And I'm just waiting on the stats updating again. Total shots, 31 shots in total, 21 outside the box. 10 shots on goal. Celtic had 10 shots on goal. It's been a long time since we've had 31 shots on goal, 31 shots on target. A couple of games ago, you were lucky if we had 10 shots in total. Ball possession, Celtic had 73% of the ball, 91% passing accuracy. That's up from 86 in the Dundee United game. Total passes was only 690. You know, so Celtic weren't making as many passes as they normally do in a game, but it was a victory and a well-needed victory by that. Back the board, back Nancy, back the players. Aye. KT wasted in the back three, sorry. KT should be in the 6 or the 8 row, the 3 don't roam. I think Big Rab, I think we can agree with that. Kieran Tierney, when he was playing in that back 3, was not as effective. When he plays further forward, he definitely became more effective. The problem with Kieran Tierney is his form right now isn't up there. I know that he scored the goal today. He scored the goal with his header. His crossing's phenomenal. His passing range, you can understand why he was a £25 million player, but you need to play him in the right position. You need to play him on the left, right against the byline. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get him running up and down that wing. If you take that away from Kieran Tierney's game, you take away a lot of the raw football ability. So playing him at the back 3, it takes away that football ability because he's then having to pass the ball to someone else. Dyson Maeda, for whatever reason, Dyson Maeda didn't play a reverse ball with Kieran Tierney. That's down to Dyson Maeda. Dyson Maeda tried to be the big I am rather than play the simple ball. So I think that didn't help Kieran Tierney today as well. It's one thing that I noticed during the game. So give me your thoughts on the game. Tisdale is the issue. If he's in charge of signing, yeah, it is that. Time and a lot of fucking chances. Yep. We go again. Is this the beginning? But can we also trust Nancy with a transfer budget? Oh, well, we don't know. Did you trust Brendan Rodgers with a transfer budget? Did you trust Ange Postecoglou with the transfer budget? Ange Postecoglou made a load of shite signings, a lot of rubbish signings that came in, did nothing and left the club. Brendan Rodgers, similar. A lot of rubbish signings that came in, left the club. This guy's not even signed one player, but we're questioning whether he should be allowed to even bring in any of his own players. If we can get a penalty box striker in January, we will be fine, says Thomas. And I think so. We can't handle high pressure against us, which Aberdeen never did. Yeah, this is true. Aberdeen didn't really push us in the final third. They defended far too deep. If you're the Aberdeen manager, you're raging after that game. Purely for the fact that Aberdeen sat back far too much. Kasper's too uncomfortable. We need to give other goalies a run. Yep, this is very, very true. Can you blame the manager for missed chances? That's 100% on the players. Oh, that leads to the poll question. And where did the poll go to? How the hell did the poll stop? The poll managed to stop itself on 79 votes. Does the heat come off the manager with that win? Let's do that again. I don't know why that stopped. Sorry, you're going to have to vote again, even though there's been 1,000 people left to chat. There's still 604. Does that take the heat off the manager? Why did that stop itself? Right, straight on again. Does the heat come off the manager after that win? 62-38, 55% say no, 63% say no, 66% say no. Oh, it's all the yes ones have now buggered off. Let's jump back into the comments. Bring back Kyogo, not a chance. January window is what is needed. Yes, it is that. I mean, I don't think that we all knew even before this manager came in. We all knew that we needed to stumble till January to get a manager to get players in the door. Players are dead on their feet. You know, when you look at that bench today, the bench was woeful. You know, Inamura on the bench. I'll get the bench up on the screen. Give me 2 seconds. I mean, that was the. Just do this just now. Just get that. That was the bench. When you see it, Sinisalo, Stimson Poozy, Scales, Shinyamada. Shinyamada never did nothing when we came on. We played when Shinyamada came on. We were playing 2 up front, him and Dyson Maeda. Inamura, Bernardo should be thinking, what the hell have I got to do to get on? Dane Murray, James Forrest, Donovan. You've got to give it to the manager. Brings on James Forrest. James Forrest gets his goal, pushes. You've got to take the positives from this as well. There's no point just giving it negative towards the manager. The manager made substantial changes within the game. He made formation changes. He put 2 strikers on to go 2 up front. He put Dyson Maeda from out wide into the middle with Shinyamada. Shinyamada didn't do a lot. He moved Kieran Tierney further forward. He brought on James Forrest. Those changes won us the game. And that's the reality of the situation. We can all say, yeah, he may not be the manager that we want for the job, but he's the manager that we've got. And he's managed to make changes today to that team with a very, very, very weak bench. I mean, it's probably, it could be one of the weakest benches that we've ever had at Celtic. Even young Donovan coming on. I think Donovan should be getting more game time, but that's a different one altogether. Casper should have done better at the goal. Where it was our midfield or defence. It wasn't really the midfield's fault because Shinyamada put in a rubbish tackle on the edge of the box, which allowed Aberdeen player to run forward. Then Dyson Maeda slips on his arse, putting in a tackle against an Aberdeen player, which allowed Aberdeen to get even further forward. And that's where the lie blames, where the blame lies, sorry. You know, I don't think that, yeah, maybe the midfield players could have been there, taking a bit of more, but it was a breakaway and it was one of those things. I think that Kasper Schmeichel, it hit his hand and going into the back of the net again. It's another one where Kasper Schmeichel attempts to make the save and doesn't, and that ultimately is what has cost us the game. Anyway, going to jump through some of these. Johnny Kenny's a poor man's Adamida. It is that in the actual 28. Yang man of the match. Oh, I don't know if man of the match, but he did have a decent game. But did he just have a decent game because he knows that he wants away in the next window? Thank God for that. It was nerve-wracking. It was that. Engels will start to flourish now. He likes that role. Interesting. Engels' head miss was almost as bad as Dyson during the week. Listen, there was 2 or 3 players that hit the post, saved them, and the goalkeeper saved them. And there's Michelle. Yes, there is a God. Anyway, that is me done and dusted. I'm going to catch up with the super chats before we leave. Done that. Apologies if I haven't went through all your comments. My throat is done and dusted. 2 strikers and a hard man midfielder. Trusty far too far up the park. Yeah, was that. What positions do you think that we need players in for? I think that we definitely need to bring in 2 strikers in the next window. Not only 2 strikers, I think that we need to bring in... We've got an abundance of midfield players, but if Rio Hatate is now leaving Celtic, as some may have suggested, we need to bring in a midfielder, and we definitely need to bring in some defenders, because defenders that can play the way that this manager wants us to play. I asked the poll question, does the heat come off the manager? 62% say no, 38% say yes. And that is that poll finished for this afternoon. Thank you to everyone who has watched all the videos today, and the preview video where we've seen the team news as it came out, and then the watch along also, and then there's also been this video, the reaction. My throat is done and dusted. There's been over 2,000 people on the video. Thank you to every single one. Danny Cassie is in the house. Danny Cassie's just entered the room with a super chat. Thank you for that, Danny. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. Left back, centre back, right back, centre forward. Yeah, I think so as well.